Hey, it's Justin with Seaboard Marine. In this video, we're going to show you how we set the struts. We got the transmissions mocked up into place, got the shaft set at the right angle, and got these babies floated in. All right, so we're floating in some stringer caps. Got some 1/2 inch by 4 aluminum. We're floating it in with some Q-cell and Capasil, just to give us a little better surface to attach our engine mounts and whatnot. Cool. You gonna drill and tap that?
I guess.
So we got these set in some Q-cell Capasil mix. They're bedded in there. Got the transmission sitting here. This little shaft here, of course this is a dummy transmission. This shaft here is just to kind of give a center line on the shaft. And so since all the engine dimensions are given from the center line of the engine, you can kind of use this to measure side offsets and stuff, because this lines right up with the crankshaft, right? And so right now we're working on setting the logs and kind of finalizing the shaft position. So Frank's just putting a block in here to kind of hold the shaft where he wants it. And so it's just a matter of kind of getting this set where it wants to be. We got the shaft with a coupler on it clamped to the gear. And so that kind of tells us where the shaft's gonna go. So now it's just a matter of getting this thing positioned just right. Right, Frank?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, it's just sitting loose right now?
Yeah.
So we increased the shaft angle just a little bit, right, to make room for a bigger prop?
We came up over here about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch.
So we came up 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch on this end?
Yeah.
But then basically the height is the same because because we didn't change the strut, but because the front end is higher, it changes the angle a little bit. So this is kind of the pivot point or fulcrum point is right here. And so he's changing the angle, and you can see there's a little gap here. What he's gonna have to do is float this back into the new angle. But that's gonna allow every inch you go up there, this comes down obviously a little less than an inch because the lever is much longer on that end than this end. But this comes down some distance, which gives you more clearance for a larger prop. So I like what Frank did here. He came up with a little makeshift way to hold the shaft, piece of angle and a couple clamps on the rudder. Kind of interesting, the rudders on this one are not in line with the shaft. They're set offset a little bit, which is, it's okay to do on a dual engine boat, right? Because then you have symmetry. You wouldn't do that necessarily on a single engine craft. But that allows you to slide the shafts out without pulling the rudders, which is nice. So we haven't started on this one. We've got the strut is off of there, but he hasn't started setting the shaft on this side yet. Okay, so as far as we can tell, the shaft's sitting right where we want it. I'm gonna kind of check it here. So he's got that block, and you can see without having to lift or move or twist it, it mates right up with the output of the gear. So now if you wanted, you could take the gear out of here and work on it.
Yeah.
Because you got this block holding it right where it's going to be.
Yeah. So I'm not trying. So the dimensions right now, I was trying to get it close for the height of the isolators. This distance from here to here is critical, so the engine can fit inside the hatch.
Right.
So now that I have that adjusted, I can go ahead and move it that way an inch or back this way an inch. Right.
As long as you move it along the shaft.
Along the shaft angle.
Yeah. So now, how are we looking right now? Where this sits right now, from here to here, that doesn't look like a lot of room.
No, it clears with 2 inches.
2 inches of clearance there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And right here it clears about hardly anything. I gotta go by this line. See this line right here that I made?
Yeah.
That's gonna, so I can drop this off, take this off, put Q-cell in it, whatever, back in there, bring this thing up to that specific line right there.
So I see you're just trying to establish a frame of reference.
Yeah.
For when you float that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to start there.
What are you applying there, Frank?
Vinyl ester resin.
Just basically like a primer coat?
Yeah, it's a tack coat, call it. It's kind of like a epoxy resin, kind of. So it creates, we gotta coat both surfaces and creates a really strong bond between both surfaces.
So you clean them up. Looks like you sanded that all the way to bare metal. So you just add some catalyst right there. So we got some Q-cell, Cabicel, fitty fitty, like the normal.
Vinyl ester resin.
And vinyl ester resin.
Yeah.
Extra strong.
Extra strong. Yeah.
You got a very thick mixture.
Yeah, it's just.
You don't want it runny, right? You want it to really hold its shape and fill that in, right? Spooning it in there, huh? Pin it for now?
Yeah, I don't think we need to do anything. So make sure those bolts are in there.
Can we clean that goop off the threads up top though?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go up there. I'm gonna put another. I think that's what we need.
Okay, so you got the bolts in the holes, but we're not tightening it down yet because we're just pinning it into the location where we want it. After the resin sets up, the Q-cell and Cabicel sets up, then we can torque it down and it'll be set where it needs to be. That's how you float in a strut to the shaft, right, Frank? Bam, baby. That's how you get it out. So we pressed out the bearing for the strut here. We have a new bearing, and we have also added some dimples to the bearing and some more set screws. Are you going to use the original ones too, or no?
Set screws? No, no.
They're pretty small.
Yeah.
For some reason they put these in with a counter bore, and they didn't leave a whole lot of meat there.
It's a screw.
Oh, it was a screw, I see, okay. So that's one way to do it. We prefer the set screw approach. You get a lot more thread engagement because you have the full meat of the side here. So we're gonna set this thing in, and here's how we like to do it. We coat it up with caulking, 5200 or similar. And this fills in any voids and holds it in place. But it's not impossible to get out if you need to ever replace it.
try not to compress it too much.
So you just basically touch it and then back it off a tiny bit.
You want to touch it.
So it's just snug, basically.
Just snug, yeah, that's snug.
But a nice dimple in the bearing. So then,
so one turn,
yeah,
or one spin.
It won't turn, slide, spin, or anything.
Yeah.
Plus all the caulking.
Yeah. So I kind of go down to where it hits. I'm touching it, and it's gonna go a little bit in. Try to set it in, go like that, and then I touch it, and it's just a little bit.
So you just barely touch it.
That's it. Try this one too. Make sure
Just-
the line.
Just
Just touch.
an eighth of a turn pass touch.
That's it.
Just slightly snug.
That's all it takes.
So on this boat, we did an offset log. So you can see we created a little bit of a depression in the belly of the boat. That allows the log to be a little bit lower. Basically, it just brings the log down and back and creates room for more room for the transmission to be further back. And that was kind of crucial to get room for those big engines in this boat that was originally designed for gas engines. I don't think we got a lot of footage of Frank making these offset logs, but if you check out our previous series on the Farallon, you can see how we do these. All right, here's the struts and the logs all done, ready to slide the shafts in. Hey, thanks for watching. In the next video, we're going to show you how we modified the hatches to accommodate the larger engines, and how we modified the combing on the outside to give a lot more access on the outboard side of the engines and make maintenance a lot easier. And we're going to talk about exhaust, and we got a lot more good stuff to come on this one.